Very good.
Way to set him up.
Okay.
Yeah. But, good to have a couple Funo D tackles, Dylan Battle, transferring from LSU, Pupu Sepulona, Semi Taulanga. So those bodies will help out a lot in the depth category. Now it's just a matter of developing them and seeing who can play right away. The good thing is we're not having to do much physically with them. Their weight's where it needs to be. It's just learning the defense.
What led to your pursuit of Dylan Battle in the transfer portal, outside of just the need of depth?
Well, depth, the relationship he had with a former teammate, and he was being let go. It was also an opportunity to look at something. He was coming off an injury, and we felt like we could be pretty aggressive in the treatment of it, that we could get him going right away. So there are a few things there, but obviously the relationship we had with his coaching staff back in high school, and then his relationship with Nate.
When you look at fall camp, how do you want to approach it in terms of trying to get guys aggressive, kind of get them ready, but also still kind of save some for the season?
Yeah, it's a physical sport. You gotta be able to practice tackling. I think a few years ago when we played Florida, first time we played Florida at their place, we tried to dial it down physically, and we missed a ton of tackles in that game, and it exposed us a little bit. So yes, we want to get to the first game healthy, and we're spacing out the practices and the periods in a way that we feel like we're being smart with their health, but at the same time, as a physical sport, you got to practice physicality. You got to be able to tackle and do the things that football players do.
Your defensive end room looks noticeably different, obviously in terms of the faces, but also just leaner builds, more athleticism. Has that been a point of emphasis this offseason, increase in the athleticism?
Not necessarily. I would say getting stronger, definitely. You're always looking for speed off the edge. This is, again, a point I've talked about before. I'm much more focused on a productive, efficient pass rush than sacks. If I'm hitting a quarterback, if I'm being disruptive, then you're forcing him to get rid of the ball quicker than he wants to. So I felt like we did a pretty good job of that last year. Obviously, the sack count wasn't what it was in previous seasons, but I felt like we were effective at getting to the quarterback. I like the depth that we have there. I think that we've gotten better. Coach Powell's done a great job of developing that group, and it's going to be a competitive fall camp for those guys.
You guys added a pair of corners also in the portal, JC Hart and Jalen Mosin. What do they bring to this corner room?
We'll find out. JC obviously has a ton of speed. He was a track guy out of high school, had shown that at Auburn. The speed and the fluidity that we were looking for. He's got to continue to make sure that he's doing everything he can to be healthy, with shoulder and everything. But and then Mosin obviously provides some quickness, some athleticism. So those are two guys that need the development as well, but we would not have gone that route if we didn't feel like we could use them right away.
You've seen a lot of offensive looks in your tenure, but what does it mean to have a guy like Devin Dampier who can kind of make things just different to kind of help your defense?
Athletic quarterbacks just cause issues, particularly when you're going to use them in a dedicated quarterback run game. It's one thing for him to just pull it on his own, escape the pocket, things break down, and he's able to make plays just with his legs on his own. But when there's a dedicated run package, or that you as a defensive coordinator really have to focus on, okay, how are we going to add a guy in the box? How are we going to take care of the quarterback in the run game? It really forces you to practice that. So he provides both. He can, if you're going to four-man rush the kid, he does a great job of understanding when things break down, when to take off, but they also have a very good dedicated QB run game.
At the beginning of the spring, you talked about having an emphasis on more havoc plays this season. How do you feel that went in the spring, and then how does that work going to continue going on into the fall?
I felt like havoc plays were a strong emphasis in spring. I felt like we did a really good job of it. The takeaways were really good. That's got to continue in fall camp. The studies have shown us that your takeaways come from Your number one takeaway in the Big 12 last year was an interception in zone coverage. It's zone eyes, it's quarterbacks forcing things into windows. The second was interceptions in man coverage, which man coverage, usually that's more of an incompletion coverage. Your completion percentage goes down. And so the majority of interceptions you see there are, tipped passes, free safety coming over the top. And then, so the next thing that you're looking at is forced fumbles from the second guy in, not the first guy in, second guy in. So there are certain takeaways, certain aspects of takeaways that you can practice. Zone drops, catching a football, including footballs in your drill work. And then a focus on second guy in, how to strip the ball, how to take care of the ball, how to go down, how to recover a ball in traffic versus how to recover a ball in space, right? And so those are the things that we have to do a really good job of. The things that you can practice in terms of takeaways, you better be practicing. And I feel like we're doing a good job of that.
You talked about completion percentage, in coverage. Smith Snowden allowed, I think, like 40% in coverage. Teo Johnson was also really good. What's going to be the key for them becoming more playmakers on the ball and getting those takeaways?
It's just a matter of making the plays. Yeah, there's a couple times last year where Teo's got the ball right there, can make a play, didn't make the play. And so it's just a matter of making the play. He's got the athleticism, he's got the ability. We just got to be able to make the play. So again, drill work where they're flipping, finding the ball, right? Look, lean, locate drills on the sideline when you're working fades. Vertical routes, jumping in front of the vertical route, when to steal, when to strike. Right, there comes a time where you have to make that decision as a safety. Am I going to be able to get to the ball? If not, strike him. If I can get there, steal it. So again, drill work is a big part of that.
In spring, you had talked about you guys just weren't good enough in stopping the run. How do you feel like you can change that this year? What is the personnel like? How do you kind of get to that point?
Some of it was technique. Some of it was missed tackles. So again, we got to be able to tackle better, the not throwing shoulders, making sure that we understand proper tackling technique, and then proper technique in maintaining gaps. A bunch of the big hitters were guys not maintaining their gaps, and that's just an alignment assignment deal. Okay,
Cool.
Thanks, guys.